Welcome back everyone to Pinetopia, where last time we started mining out this amethyst geode, and so far we seem to have most of the blocks uncovered, and I was thinking maybe this will make a nice tourist attraction for the museum. We have this museum, so perhaps it would be a nice idea to allow the tourists to come out here and take a look at this location. Now this is going to be a nice open geode with them all budding out, but it would be also nice to have a mostly intact geode. And that's where this thing comes in. Now that is, I believe, the bottom of another geode, but I think the best thing to do is to have a tourist area around going up here to have a look down and all around, and to come up along the side of this geode so that they could look at a geode in its natural form. Thus, a nice geode exhibit. The other matter relating to the geode is, of course, gathering the crystals once I mine them. For example, let's say I grab this crystal right over here. It fell on top of that bud and then fell down here. So these things are going to fall over the place, sometimes fall into buds and not conveniently fall down for me, and that means I need some way to gather them all up. How am I going to do that? I think for that I'm going to need an ally, or should I say an allay. There are two potential sources for allays. One of them is from a woodland mansion. No, this is obviously not a woodland mansion. This is a savannah village. But the other source is a pillager outpost. And we have one right up there. So I'm going to head out that way. This is, I believe, the outpost that we spotted way at the beginning of the game while I was trying to do my initial exploration. So it's now time to see if I can raid anything from there, and of course at least scout it to see are there any allays in the area. If not, I could just beat a hasty retreat. I think this would be a nice place to plop a bed, set my spawn point here. That way if things go horrifically wrong, I'll be able to, I hope, recover my stuff. Of course, we do have this thing with pillagers coming around. Oops, no, not that. Hey, stop that. What's Oh! He had a piercing enchantment. Oh my goodness gracious. I didn't consider that possibility. Where's it? It's called piercing, right? Whatever the enchantment is that allows you to bypass shields. Now, let's see what we've got in here. Oh, there's an allay right there. So there is definitely an allay in the area. I did bring an axe with me, didn't I? Yes, here it is, right over here. There's a rather small number of... Oh, you know, I just remembered something. What I desperately need more than anything else is a lead. I am now back with some leads, and also I remembered my bow this time. There you go. Yes, remember that you have a bow. It could help when you're fighting against someone who's carrying crossbows with them. Now, where was I? Oh yes, I wanted to abscond with a few allays, or I should say free a few allays, I guess is probably a better way of putting it. Oops. There you go. Now, that's all fine. Let's go in. Grab. Hold on. Oops. And they're flying away. Alright. I have never seen anything fly away so fast in this game. Right. Hey, 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 hey. Alright. Whew. Now. Oh no! Please. It doesn't help that we've got a place that is surrounded with... Oh. Now let's get out of here before more of them spawn. Well, I'm going to assume I'm not going to be able to get that second allay back. So, I'll just move along back to camp and drink some milk because I don't feel like starting a raid. Alright, perhaps I should have given it an object instead, because the lead thing completely failed to work, and the allay escaped. Well then, that plan's down the tubes. I suppose then that I need to start thinking about improving the stairway down here, because originally I was thinking it was just going to be a private little mine that we keep the tourists from entering, but if it's going to be our entrance into our amethyst node exhibit, then we are going to need to do some digging, some widening, some improving, and all of that, so that we will be able to have the tourists reach this place safely and be able to not be overly exhausted when they arrive. For this area, I decided to only replace the blocks with stone block stairs and head on this way, and that I would leave the walls to blocks that you normally see while digging in there. So therefore we have the granite here, which is natural spawn there. I am leaving the copper ore there. And then we go through the diorite and the andesite. Thus, the tourists will have a chance to see various different types of stone as you move down through them. Now, I think I had a room back here that I was using as a quarry at one point. I decided to block that in so that the tourists don't get off track or anything like that. Now we're getting into deep slate layer. Now I did decide to leave this little room here as a nice place to rest, though perhaps putting a bed there was a little bit too much on the rest side. Let's see, we'll just continue on down around here. Oh, yes, we need, I think, a little bit more headroom over here, because I would like to have a case where I don't have the tourists knocking their heads against the wall, and of course I think that's true for me also. Now this is the level where we'll need to branch off, because this is the way to the amethyst area. Yes, that's simple enough. I will just use some stone brick blocks over here. Now the problem is that I do want to still be able to reach the mines that I have down here. So I'll need a new access way in order to get down to the mines that will be authorized personnel only, so to speak. Here's the result of my renovations here. This is towards the skeleton farm, so we could smack one over there. And then this is towards my mining area. So I twist down a little bit so I can get to where I was before. And the straight path then will be the path to my amethyst area. Where the place is brimming with little crystals all over the place. And that this is the path right here then that leads to this. So this is the one that I am allowing to grow out. And here's the one where I keep the geode pretty much intact. So we don't have nearly as many crystal nodes coming out on this one because I haven't excavated this thing so that they're all exposed to it. I was sort of keeping the entire geode here. So there's a little bit of a contrast on how it begins and how it can be excavated in order to maximize the output. So I think that's a very, very nice exhibit in here. Probably have to have some signs on talking about it, putting that into clearer language, whatever. But I think that is a nice little exhibit for the museum. And also a nice place for me to get amethyst if I ever need it. So why would I need amethyst? Well, that's a good question. One of the things I want to do with it is to help with the skeleton farms. Right now, the skeleton farm, or I should say the skeleton slash zombie farm, that particular area, I can't see into it. I have everything closed because, of course, if I open up the door, I am shot at by skeletons and all. So one thing I want to do is to be able to look inside of her. So that means getting some tinted glass. There we go. We have a stack of tinted glass. And I'll probably use that for various places where I want to be able to look inside a place without letting in light and without mobs going around and shooting at me. So that's one of the things I'm doing. Now, of course, I also probably want to make a spyglass. If I want to make one of those, now how many spyglasses do I need? Probably only one. Let's see, that means getting some more amethyst crystals here. Some copper, if I remember correctly. I really need to put a crafting table down there. And let's see, and spyglass. There we go. And maybe that'll help me with my exploration when I go searching for new areas. Well, maybe not necessarily, but at least it's a novelty. Of course, tinted glass does have the disadvantage that you really can't see much in there, though I can see the white of skeletons over there. And yes, I do see the zombies floating slowly across in there, but you're barely able to see anything that's going on in that area. Maybe I could put some light into an area that's outside of the range of the spawners, so that the spawning area is not affected, but I get a little bit of light there. Would probably have to be something like a single cucumber or something like that that might be able to do that. That I might be able to see a little bit more what's in there. But it's obvious from this that there are mobs in there that they do seem to be stacked up there a little bit, which means that they're not being they're not moving into that area all that well. So it's definitely still suboptimal, even though I am getting quite a good amount of experience from this. Here's the mob farm with the tinted glass. I threw a redstone torch right over there so I have a little bit of light inside, even though that's not going to give me a very good view. I think that's as much as I'm going to be able to dare put there without affecting the spawn rates. though I am wondering where the light is coming from there. Is that coming from the mob spawner itself? Or is there a problem of some sort of light source that I am missing? I decided to remove the door and the light disappeared. Ah! So, light passes through the door. That is something that I had not realized in there, but this particular item makes that obvious in here. It probably explains why I'm getting many more skeletons than I am getting zombies, because probably some of the zombies weren't. Actually, I still see a small amount, but there's a lot less light going through there now than there was before. Alright. With a little bit of luck, that means my zombie rates are going to improve, and maybe my zombie flesh rates will improve. At the moment, I've got 9 stacks of zombie flesh and 2 rows almost on the bones, and I think I have already emptied out bones on a couple of occasions. Zombie flesh, I don't recall ever emptying out any of that, so that does highlight how much more I've been getting on the skeleton side than on the zombie side, which is actually not much of a problem when you consider that I usually consider the skeleton farm to be more useful in any case. But I'm going to do a little experiment to see if I look like I'm starting to actually get more zombies than I was before. So I am going to remove this, as I compare the drops. I now have a stack of rotten flesh, and it looks like I have a little bit more than a stack and a half of bones and arrows. So that demonstrates pretty much that I am still getting significantly more skeletons. Looks like 50% more skeletons than I am getting zombies, because I believe the drop rates for those items are just about the same. Now, I also hear chickens every once in a while in here, so that means that there are chicken jockeys in here, and I have never seen a chicken come in through this system. So obviously, the zombies aren't getting through anywhere near as the skeletons are. Fortunately, as I've said on a couple of occasions, I'm more interested in the skeleton drops anyway, so I'm not going to worry about this immediately. Instead, I think it's time for us to go into more points in the museum. Now I moved from the mob farm to a crop farm, and here I am going to be moving my fields from this section where I said in an earlier episode where I felt like this was getting way too cramped to be a good open exhibit. So I'm going to move this from over here down to the area that is to the north of the museum, where I have a nice green patch, as you can see on the map there, is going to turn into a set of crop fields. So I have a wheat field, of course, and also one for the melons and for the pumpkins. And I'm going to remove all of this. What I'm going to put here in its place, I have to think on that. But for now, let's worry about getting the soil tilled so that I can at least have the wheat area up. This farm, of course, starts with this trench that is going to be our water source, and I'm going to have 4 rows of crops on each side of it. Thus we'll have 8 in each column here, and the first 8 are going to be with wheat, then I have 4 of each other type of crop. I'm going to have a single crop in each of them, so it's not going to be the most efficient for it, but as it's a museum exhibit, then rather than something that's going to be a primary source of food, I think that'll work fine. Now, if I have extra space at the end, maybe I'll have multi crop items that are in here to maybe show off how one could put multiple crops together or something like that. But primarily I'm going to first have an exhibit first for each crop in isolation. Said, I'm not doing this for farming efficiency, I'm doing this as part of a museum exhibit. So now it is time for me to start getting out the hoe and getting some tilled earth. 1, 2, yeah, this is going to go all the way down here. So said, we're going to do it 4 in each direction. Not too sure whether it's more efficient to do them piece by piece, but I think it'd be faster if I just go straight down in each of them. So that's what I'm going to do. Now think about it, it's probably best not to put the melons and pumpkins here since they grow in a completely different manner from everything else. So I need a new plan for that. I think I'll do, I think that's 8. Yeah, that's 8 because I've got 56 left. So I'll just plant these, and then I'm going to head back over to the old farm area there, and I'm going to move things so that it'll work as a dedicated pumpkin and melon patch. Well, I have to have a look at it to see if that will actually work, because I want to make sure that, of course, that the viewers have an opportunity, or I should say the tourists, I guess, the visitors, have an opportunity to be able to walk around in it. What I'll do is I will replant the melons and the pumpkins against the wall. Then they can grow out, and I can do the same thing over here, and I'll have 2 squares in which the visitors will be able to go and view them. I'll put the melons right over there, and I'll put the pumpkins there and the melons over here. I think that will work. In the case of the pumpkin patch, I will have 4 on this side, 4 on this side. Let's get some pumpkin seeds out. And then on this side, I'll have 3 here, 5 here. Now, it looks like I am not quite in range there for the water. Maybe I'll need to rearrange that slightly. There is a more serious concern though, and that is that I planted a second set of pumpkins rather than melons. So I will fix that. Oh, I wanted to leave that one empty. As for the hydration for that block right over there, I think my best bet will be just to place the water right here, though I don't like the idea of having a I don't like the idea of having a stone block down below that, so I put some dirt there, and that will have that hydrated. And now we have 2 wide all the way through where the visitors can come and have a look at the growing pumpkins and now melons. One more thing, right over here I'll add a composter, so that'll be part of the farm exhibit also, and also could be a place where visitors could put compostable items. Now it looks like the wheat is already starting to grow. Alright, that's nice. Let's start on some carrots. Now I only have 4 carrots so far, so that's going to be our first half row at least of carrots. So I'll just have to let them grow and plant them along. Actually, I probably should plant them that way. Well, we'll see. I guess it really doesn't matter at this point. Next, we have carrots. Do I have any potatoes? Nope, I think I do have some potatoes that are sitting down in the mop farm. Ah, but I do have beets. One, two, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we'll just add some beets here. And actually, we have enough for a set on both sides, so I might as well do that. Here we go. Might as well start the next set also. Now, that means we could start here. We've got the wheat coming along. Looks like I have a full set on that. We've got carrots, we got beets. I could put potatoes right after that. The mob farm had a total of 3 potatoes plus 3 more carrots. There we go. So now we just need those to grow. Now that the first rounds of crops are completed, it is time for us to think about the walls again. I've made a good start on it, but I think I'll need another 2 trail ruins in order to be able to complete the entire wall area. So between episodes, I am going to seek another trail ruins and grab as much as I can. And then we could continue along on these walls in the next episode of the Museum of Pinetopia.